Hey there, Earth Signs. It's Shaniqua from What Shaniqua's Into, and we are about to jump into some tarot and oracle cards to see what guidance Spirit has for you guys for this week of August 23rd. So, I have to go ahead and apologize because I've already flipped over and seen your cards. Normally, I wait until the recording is rolling to go ahead and flip and interpret the messages, but I actually ran out of space on my camera, and I thought I was recording for the last like 8 minutes of you guys' video, and I was not, so I had to re-record. So I do apologize, since we're not gonna like flip and see the cards together. But in the case of you guys' reading this week, I feel like that's actually a really good thing, because it gave me the opportunity to reflect on your cards a little bit more and sort of integrate the messages of the positions of the spread into a more succinct, cohesive takeaway. So the positions of the spread that we're using this week for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are seek, which is something that you should aim for or strive to achieve or understand this week. Avoid, which is pretty self-explanatory, something that you want to avoid. Ally, which is a theme, lesson, or energy or archetype that's going to aid the earth signs this week in going after the first card for what you guys are seeking. And then finally, the last tarot position is learn. So that's just going into what this week is bringing into your awareness and helping you in your personal development. And then I also pulled an oracle card, each from the Shadow edition of the Threads of Fate Oracle, and also from the Work Your Lights Oracle. And the tarot deck that we are using is the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sterl. So let's go through card by card and talk about their meanings. So for the earth signs this week, what you guys are guided to seek is mental clarity and refreshed perspectives that empower you and invigorate your mind and really up level and improve your methods of communication. That's what the Ace of Swords is representing. All of the aces are gifts and opportunities. So they're fleeting. They're energy that you have to grab onto, work with, and make the most of before it sort of fades away, before the gift kind of feels like it's being rejected. So this is really something that you want to be sort of vigilant about and really keep your eyes open and your mind's eye open for new ways of thinking in order to just really upgrade and sharpen your mental faculties. That's what the earth signs are guided to seek this week. And you guys are advised to avoid an aspect of the sun. And in tarot, this is typically seen as a good card or a happy card because it's associated with joy and self-expression and radiance and clarity and light, right? Illumination, the actual sun. But as the shadow aspect, or a card falling into a more negative position, this really represents overbearing energy. This represents a lack of restraint almost. It's still a card of clarity, but falling into the position of what you should avoid indicates that it's out of balance or not operating at an optimal vibration. And so that tells me that for the earth signs this week, there's clarity coming in. There's a new way of thinking that is really going to shift the dynamic that you have with yourself and your environment, and coming upon that realization, having that sort of light bulb moment or that strike of truth can sometimes leave people like ready to shout from the mountaintops and sort of spread the gospel, so to speak. And this is not the week for that. This is a week for reflection and review in order to initiate change. And I say that because your ally this week is found in the Eight of Wands. And this is a card of big action and momentum and just very high, intense energy levels. When you start something under the energy of the Eight of Wands, especially as your ally this week, it often indicates that there's going to be a sort of quick resolution, and often a satisfactory one. But again, this is momentum, and it indicates a goal. It indicates an aim. If you look at the art of the card, there's a girl on a motorcycle sort of riding through the desert on like a winding road, and the Eight Wands are shooting through the air above her. So all of that speed and motion that's indicated by the wands and the motorcycle has to go somewhere. They have to land. And typically, you're not going to hop on a motorcycle and ride through the desert without having a destination in mind. So the clarity that's coming from this Ace of Swords is meant to be used to maximize the energy of this Eight of Wands in order to further a very specific goal that's going to come to mind, or get refined in the mind this week. And ultimately, what the earth signs are learning is how to reflect, review, and release any past negative experiences or regrets that you guys may have in order to forgive yourself and move on from a place of wisdom gained from experience, so that you don't repeat old negative patterns, and that you can actually accomplish like the really big goals and dreams in your life. When judgment comes up, it's often an opportunity to stop judging yourself so harshly and sort of accept that the current state of your life is a direct result 99.999% of the time of some decision that you've made, and that if your life is less than what you want it to be, not quite up to par or as amazing as you would prefer, then when you pull judgment, it's an opportunity to say, okay, and how did I lead to that being the case, without judging yourself in a negative way. It's a way to be objective and honestly kind to yourself by saying, just accepting and acknowledging that you're human and you don't need to or have to be perfect in order to be good, in order to be valid and worthy, and in order to improve your life. That only really can come from accepting that change is the only constant in life, and that even though we have very strong identities and experiences that help shape and define who we are, even as people, we can change. Even as earth signs, which are some of the most stable signs and least likely to change, even for you guys, and I should say us because I'm a Capricorn moon, even for the earth signs or people with heavy earth influence in their natal charts, change is still something that we have to adapt to and embrace in order to rise to our greatest potential. And that's part of what the lesson is in judgment. If you look at the art of the card, there's, gray people. They look very gray or like blue, and they're standing up in coffins, and they're like reaching up toward a large angel above them in the heavens. And so like it's part of that upgrading of your life through reviewing everything that has come before, and like just releasing that judgment on yourself and understanding that through that forgiveness and reflection and responsibility, there's no longer a need to beat yourself up or wallow in like self-doubt, or allow yourself to continue perpetuating things that negatively affect your self-esteem. It's really just an opportunity to be kind to yourself and to upgrade your life through reflection, review, and ultimately responsibility. The oracle card that the earth signs have from the Threads of Fate oracle, it left my mind for a second, is the Reflect card. The art on this deck is like a gold foil, so it may be difficult to see, but there's like two swans and they're mirroring each other, and it almost kind of looks like they're about to like hug, because their necks are kind of crossed, and then below them there's an eye that has like energy or light radiating out, and around them in a circle there's more lines of energy radiating out. And again, this card is called Reflect. Okay, so this is really about understanding that people and circumstances in your life act as a mirror for you. Whatever you see in someone or something else is in fact a part of yourself. And if it's something that you like or admire, a lot of times it's because that very same quality is within you, but you don't see it in the same way. And if it's something that annoys you or angers you, oftentimes it's because we're not accepting of the fact that we can embody those traits too. So I'm going to grab the guidebook for this deck and just read exactly what the authors intended to be taken away. Of course, we can take everything with a grain of salt, but I do like to see exactly what oracle cards are meant to be, just because they're different systems from tarot. So Reflect is a water card, and it is on page 84. Okay, what's a 84? All right, Reflect. Without a reflective practice, we end up repeating the same pattern. What was I just saying about judgment? Without a reflective practice, we end up repeating the same patterns over and over again, unable to reach our potential. This card asks you to sit in silence for a few moments and reflect upon what has been coming up for you recently. What emotions do you find yourself experiencing continuously? What situations do you find yourself in often? If you are finding unease in any area of your life, have you experienced it before? When? When was the first time you remember feeling this way? How did your family handle these sorts of situations when you were young? Consider journaling around these questions and allowing whatever needs to come out to come out. When we reflect, the intention is not to fix, but simply to view ourselves and our lives with less bias and more openness. And because there are swans on the card, the swan is part of the entry here. So under swan, it says, swan is a very helpful companion when doing reflective work, as they encourage us to be gentle with ourselves, reminding us that transformation is always possible. She asks you to examine how you treat yourself when doing internal work. Is it with a sense of shame or harshness, or do you approach it with a sense of wonder and gentleness? Call upon the spirit of swan to hold loving space for you and to guide you in cultivating tenderness towards yourself. I feel like that goes perfectly with what we were saying about judgment. You don't want to continuously repeat harmful patterns. You want to learn from your life in order to make more empowering, more aligned, just overall better decisions for yourself and those around you. Okay, so let's read from the entry for the Work Your Light Oracle card, and from that deck you guys got Lemuria, creating heaven on earth, it's happening. And there is the art for that card. So let's see what the guidebook says about Lemuria. I want to say Lemuria is one of the last cards. Yeah, 112. And that is a transmission card. Okay. Lemuria, or I think that says Mu, it's M-U. Lemuria or Mu is one of the Earth's lost lands where heaven really was a place on earth, a time before we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. In Lemuria, life worked in harmony, all beings were seen as equal, and we were deeply reverent to Mother Earth. We knew that a mosquito was no worse than us and the sun no better. Perhaps you too believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. Perhaps you are part of the transition team who, at a soul level, are devoted to creating this kind of harmony on the planet now. Thank you for wanting to do this work. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the state of affairs on the planet right now, but you are being encouraged to keep holding the clear vision of the future. It is closer than you think. You may be guided to hold the frequency of Lemuria in your own community, family, workplace, or within yourself. Know that it is possible, and while at times it may feel like you are alone, you truly are not. There are hundreds of thousands who hold the codes of this ancient lost land, and even Lemuria crystals that hold the codes of remembering that are beginning to rise all over the planet. Keep doing what you are doing, and remember, the only way to heal the world around us is to first heal ourselves. And the affirmation for this card is, I hold the codes of Lemuria and believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. All right, so regardless of whether or not you follow Christian doctrine and believe in heaven as an actual place or anything like that, the takeaway that I would encourage you to have from that card itself is that we are in control of our environment. And by choosing to embrace and accept that power, we can make positive changes for the better. Now, I do feel like the last part of that entry, like we can't heal the world or our communities or our environment until we heal ourselves, is very much true. And I feel like that is why what earth signs are guided to avoid this week is in fact coming from the sun, you know, that very radiant, illuminating energy. Aces are obviously correlated with the number 1, and the 1 in numerology has to do with the self and the individual. And as what you all are seeking this week, I really feel like before the mental upgrades and like systems of analysis and improved communication and just sharp faculties that this card can represent, they are meant to be focused on you as an individual. They are not meant to be turned into lessons or like overbearing energy. Like if you think about the sun, if somebody were to just go outside and just stare straight into the sun, like you could burn your retinas, and like at the very least you're definitely gonna have like tears running out of your eyes, and your eyes are gonna be stinging. Like it's too brilliant to behold for any extended period of time. And that's what you want to avoid this week. You don't want to be that person who is so overcome with joy and excitement at the new insights that you've gained that you become unbearable to be around, or like annoying to listen to, because then you make it so that the lessons that you've learned are difficult to receive by other people. You know what I mean? So really use this week to focus on where your thinking could use some pruning, right? I mean, it's a sword, right? What can you cut away from your mental frameworks in order to optimize your systems, right? In order to sort of streamline the way that you think about action and self-acceptance and self-forgiveness and goal accomplishment. Because remember, the ally here is that very high energy, like swift progress and momentum energy of the 8 of Wands. So keep that in mind, okay? So that is what I have for the lovely earth signs this week. I sincerely hope that this reading was helpful. If it resonates, I would love if you would like and leave me some comments. Feel free to tag anybody that you think might benefit from the messages being shared. And if you would like a personal reading, you can go to my website, writingwithtarot.com, and you can purchase a spread. Or if you have any questions or anything that you would like clarified beforehand, feel free to use the contact me form on my website. Or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram if you, again, have any questions or anything that you would like clarified. So, again, I hope that everyone has a fabulous week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.